Neriah stood frozen in the doorway of her parents' Bellevue mansion, a place that sparkled with chandeliers and arrogance. The marble floors glistened beneath the glow of crystal light, laughter spilling like champagne across the hall. Guests in gowns and suits glittered with jewels, sipping wine worth more than her monthly rent. Waiters glided gracefully between tables draped in white silk, trays laden with delicacies. Neriah's hands shook as she clutched a wrinkled medical file. The words inside burned. Emergency heart surgery required. Total cost: $50,000. Immediate action necessary. Her mother, Marcia, spotted her at once. In a pearl-colored gown with diamonds at her throat, she stiffened, her smile freezing. "Neriah," she whispered sharply, approaching with irritation. "Do you realize what day this is? Your brother's pre-wedding celebration. Must you choose tonight to embarrass us?" Neriah swallowed hard, her throat dry. She lifted the file as if it were a plea carved in paper. "Mom, please. Elira is in the hospital. She needs surgery in 3 days or," her voice cracked, "or we might lose her. I'm begging you." Marcia barely glanced at the file before looking away, dismissive. Her eyes shifted toward Corvin, Neriah's brother, who stood beside his fiancée, Celine, sipping champagne like royalty. "Corvin," Marcia said coolly, her tone sharp, "your sister believes it's our duty to solve her problems. What is your view?" Corvin smirked, raising his glass in a mocking toast. "Neriah," he said clearly, ensuring the crowd around them could hear, "we've already spent $500,000 on this wedding. Your child, your responsibility. Don't bring your troubles into our celebration." A ripple of laughter moved through the circle, every sound cutting deeper into Neriah's soul. Her face burned crimson, humiliation stinging her like fire. She turned quickly, pushing through silken dresses and polished suits. The murmurs followed her out the door. Outside, the Seattle drizzle mingled with her tears, soaking her thin coat. She whispered to herself in the cold, "Never again. I'll never beg them again." At the apartment, Cale rushed forward, eyes wide with hope. That hope died when he saw her expression. "They refused, didn't they?" he murmured, wrapping his arms around her. Neriah couldn't answer at once, but her silence spoke louder than words. Finally she whispered, "They said, Elira is our responsibility. They laughed at me, Cale." His jaw clenched, his body tense, but he only held her tighter. That night, Neriah couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Elira's pale face, her fragile chest rising weakly under hospital covers. The clock ticked like a hammer, each second stealing precious time. They had scraped together half the amount, but it was still not enough. On her phone, glowing faintly in the dark, she searched high-interest loans, knowing they would destroy them, but unable to see another choice. By morning, desperation had turned into grim decisions. Cale listed their old Honda for sale online, the same car that had carried them on road trips, the car filled with their laughter and memories. Neriah sold her design tools, her drafting tablet, her software, leaving herself with almost nothing. Their apartment stood bare, walls echoing with sacrifice. Still, it wasn't enough. Sitting on the floor of their stripped living room, Neriah buried her face in her hands. "What do we do now?" she whispered hoarsely. Cale sat beside her, silent, staring at the cracked walls as though searching for answers that weren't there. The weight pressed down, heavy and merciless. That was when the knock came. The door creaked open, revealing Elora and Garen, Cale's parents. They stepped inside quietly, their eyes scanning the empty space. Elora knelt by Neriah, her hands soft and warm, determination shining in her eyes. "Neriah," she said gently, squeezing her hand, "we've decided. We're selling the house. For Elira." Neriah's breath caught, her world tilting. "No, Elora, you can't." But Elora only shook her head firmly. "It's just a house. Our granddaughter's life matters more." Neriah's eyes blurred with tears. She looked at Elora's weathered face, at Garen's steady gaze, and her voice trembled. "You've lived in that house for 40 years. It's your only security." Garen placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Security means nothing if we lose her, child. We'll manage in a smaller place. But Elira only has one chance. Neriah covered her mouth, her sobs spilling silently. Gratitude mixed with shame, drowning her words. Within days, the money was gathered. The hospital accepted the payment, and Elira was prepared for surgery. Neriah and Kale spent those hours pacing in the waiting room, hands clutched together like lifelines. Neriah's knees shook with every step the clock ticked closer to despair. When the surgeon finally emerged, his mask pulled down, his voice calm, he said, "The surgery was successful." Neriah's legs gave out. Kale caught her, holding her as relief broke through their fear. They stood by Elira's bed, watching her small chest rise steadily, her lips no longer pale. Neriah brushed a curl from her daughter's forehead, whispering, "You're safe now, my love." In that moment, she vowed silently, she would never again rely on those who had turned their backs. The ones who gave nothing in their wealth had been replaced by those who gave everything in their modesty. Life after surgery was not magically easy. The debt of sacrifice hung heavy. Yet Neriah woke each dawn, pouring her soul into her design studio. Lilies. Every blueprint, every wall she shaped became a symbol of resilience. She whispered promises to herself in quiet hours. "I'll build us a life where no one can dismiss us again." Weeks turned into months. Neriah took risky jobs, ones no other designer dared touch. Old warehouses, broken community centers, neglected apartments. She transformed them with color and light, earning whispers of praise. Clients passed her name along, her reputation spreading like fire through Seattle. Neriah worked through nights, Kale supporting silently, never letting her stumble. One afternoon, as gray rain streaked down the windows, the phone rang. A producer's voice filled the line. "Mrs. Kale, we've read about your projects online. A mother once abandoned by her own family, now reshaping forgotten spaces. It's inspiring. We'd like to feature you on television." Neriah hesitated, her heart clenching. To speak publicly was to reopen wounds still raw. That evening, she watched Elira laugh in the small backyard, her cheeks flushed with health. Neriah's hesitation melted. Her pain could become someone else's hope. She nodded slowly to Kale. "I'll do it." Kale kissed her forehead softly. "Your story will change lives." The studio lights blazed bright weeks later. Neriah sat nervously in the chair, the cameras trained on her face. The host leaned forward gently. "Neriah, what inspired you to build Lilier's studio?" Neriah breathed deeply, her voice calm yet steady. "When my daughter was gravely ill, I begged my family for help. They chose a $500,000 wedding instead. That night I learned blood doesn't guarantee love. True family are those who stand beside you with nothing to gain." The interview aired that weekend. It spread like wildfire, shared by strangers who wept and whispered, "This is my story too." Messages poured in. Notes of gratitude, confessions of rejection, tales of quiet strength. Neriah read them all, tears streaming, realizing her story had unlocked voices long silenced by shame. But with the wave of empathy came something else. People began piecing together names. Marcia and Darren Bennett, once admired business figures, suddenly stood exposed. Corvin, the golden son who flaunted rings and wealth online, became a symbol of cruelty. Their perfect image cracked wide open. And Neriah, from her quiet studio, watched the empire of pride she once feared crumble without her lifting a hand. The scandal spread across social media like wildfire. Headlines mocked the Bennetts, once revered for their elegance and success. Photos of Corvin's lavish engagement ring contrasted cruelly with clips of Neriah speaking of Elira's fight for life. Strangers flooded comment sections. How could parents value diamonds over their granddaughter's heartbeat? The public's rage grew so loud that even Celine, Corvin's fiancée, could not stay silent. One morning, Neriah's phone buzzed with an alert. Celine's post had gone viral overnight. "A man who can laugh while a child fights for life isn't a man I'll marry." It was short, sharp, and final. Corvin's wedding was cancelled in front of the world. Neriah sat in stunned silence, her phone trembling in her hands. Cale placed a hand over hers. "You didn't need revenge," he murmured. The truth spoke for itself. Neriah should have felt triumph. Instead, sadness pooled in her chest. They had abandoned her, humiliated her, but seeing their empire crumble brought no joy, only a heavy ache. She tucked Elira into bed that night and whispered softly, "We'll live differently, my love. Not with pride, but with kindness." Days later the phone rang again. Neriah almost dropped it when she saw the name flashing across the screen. Marcia. She hesitated before answering. "Neriah," her mother's voice trembled, stripped of its sharp edges. "I never wanted to call you, but we're losing everything. Please, can you help us?" Neriah's breath caught. The tables had turned. In the days that followed, Neriah wrestled with the storm inside her. Cale found her sitting in the studio one evening, staring at a black briefcase filled with $200,000. "I could give it to them," she whispered. "Or I could turn them away." Cale knelt beside her. "The choice is yours, Neriah. But whatever you decide, it has to bring you peace." At noon sharp, Marcia and Darren entered Lillia's studio. Neriah barely recognized them. Her father, once confident and commanding, was hunched, his face lined with defeat. Her mother's pearls had been replaced with a faded coat. They couldn't meet her eyes. Silence pressed heavy until Neriah finally spoke. "How are you both?" Marcia's voice was barely a whisper. "We're managing." Darren cleared his throat, his tone broken. "Neriah, we have nowhere else to go. I made mistakes, terrible ones. I risked everything for appearances. Now it's all gone. We're asking not as parents, but as people who've hit rock bottom." Neriah's gaze fell on the briefcase between them. Memories flooded back. The humiliation at Corvin's party, her mother's cold dismissal, Elira's weak breaths in the hospital. She traced her finger over the smooth leather and spoke quietly. "When Elira needed surgery, I begged you. I would have repaid every cent. Do you remember what Corvin said? Your child, your responsibility. And Mom, do you remember your words? Family doesn't mean sacrificing yourself." Marcia flinched, her head bowing low. Neriah's voice steadied. "Now here you are, asking me to sacrifice for you." Silence settled like stone. Slowly, Neriah opened the briefcase, stacks of money gleaming under the pale light. "I thought about refusing, but I won't become like you. This money is yours. Not as forgiveness, as closure." Darren's shoulders sagged, relief flooding his face. Marcia reached out, her fingers trembling as she closed the briefcase. Neriah's eyes hardened. "The moment you take this money, our relationship ends. You taught me family doesn't sacrifice. Today I'm proving you wrong. I'm sacrificing because I refuse to be like you." Her parents rose silently, their eyes wet, and walked out without looking back. Neriah sat in the empty meeting room long after they left. She had imagined this moment for years, expected it to bring triumph or sorrow. Instead, all she felt was calm. She exhaled slowly, closing her eyes. The final chapter with her parents had ended, not in rage, but in quiet dignity. That evening, Cale found her sitting on the sofa, staring at the rain against the window. Elira slept peacefully beside her, her tiny fingers curled around Neriah's hand. "I gave them the money," she whispered to Cale. "But I also gave them my goodbye. Was I too harsh?" Cale shook his head gently. "You did what was right. Compassion is stronger than cruelty." A knock on the door broke the moment. Elora and Garen stepped in, carrying warmth with them. Elora set down a tray of cookies, her eyes soft as she studied Neriah. "You look tired, child. But you did the right thing today. Sometimes letting go is the bravest choice." Garen nodded firmly. "We couldn't ask for a better daughter-in-law. Family isn't who shares your blood, it's who shares your heart." Neriah's chest swelled with gratitude. She reached for Elora's hand, squeezing it tight. Their love had cost them everything, yet they never wavered. That night, they laughed softly in the kitchen, a simple meal shared, a warmth no mansion could replace. Time passed. Nne'folktale grew stronger, her laughter filling every corner of their home. Neriah's studio flourished, her name whispered with respect across the city. The media buzz quieted into admiration, her work speaking louder than her story. Yet peace was fragile, always shadowed by the memory of betrayal. One day, Nne'folktale climbed into Neriah's lap, her eyes wide with innocence. "Mommy, I dreamed you were a superhero. You flew into the sky and saved me. I wasn't scared anymore." Tears stung Neriah's eyes as she held her close. Kale smiled softly from across the table. "She's right. You've always been our hero." Months later, Neriah began searching quietly. She tracked down the new owners of Elora and Garen's house, the one they had sacrificed without hesitation. After careful negotiation, she bought it back, keeping her plan a secret until Elora's birthday. That afternoon, they walked together down the old familiar street. Elora paused, confusion clouding her face. "Neriah, why are we here?" Neriah pressed the keys into her hand. "We're home. You gave up everything for us. Now it's our turn to give it back." Tears streamed down Elora's cheeks as Garen gripped her hand tightly. Inside the house, Nne'folktale dashed to the kitchen. "Grandma, Grandpa. That means pancakes every morning again, right?" Elora laughed through her tears, kneeling to hug her tightly. The house filled once more with warmth and joy. Watching them, Neriah felt a quiet peace blossom. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't triumph. It was healing. Kale slipped his hand into hers, his voice low and proud. "You did this. You carried us through." Neriah nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. For the first time she truly believed it. Time moved steadily, like gentle waves against Seattle's shore. Neriah's life blossomed quietly, not with extravagance but with love. Nne'folktale grew healthier each day, her laughter ringing like music through their home. Kale's steady presence grounded them, while Elora and Garen filled their lives with warmth, pancakes, and endless stories. Lillia's studio thrived, her reputation stretching far beyond the city. For the first time, Neriah felt truly safe. Then one afternoon her phone rang. The name flashing on the screen made her chest tighten. "Corvin." She hesitated, thumb hovering, then answered softly. "Go ahead," she said. His voice was no longer arrogant. It trembled with raw honesty. "Neriah, I know you probably don't want to hear me. But please, just 1 minute." He drew a shaky breath. "Everything collapsed after the wedding was cancelled. The business is gone. Our parents lost everything. And me. I thought success meant never needing anyone, especially not you. But I was wrong. I've lost it all. I have nothing left." Neriah sat in silence, her heart heavy. For the first time, her brother sounded like a broken man, not the golden boy who once laughed at her tears. "Corvin," she said quietly, her voice steady. "You chose this life. All I ever wanted was to belong, to feel loved. Instead you made me feel worthless. I don't hate you. But I can't save you either. You need to face what you built, just like I once had to." There was a pause, then a whisper. "I understand. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." Neriah closed her eyes briefly. "Goodbye, Corvin." She hung up gently, no triumph in her chest, just closure. Forgiveness, she realized, didn't always mean reunion. Sometimes it meant releasing the pain and walking forward. Years passed in peace. Elora and Garen became anchors in Nne'folktale's childhood, their home filled with warmth and wisdom. Neriah's parents never called again, and she made peace with that silence. Family, she had learned, was not always something you were born into. Sometimes it was something you created. One golden spring evening, Nne'folktale climbed onto Neriah's lap. She was older now, but her eyes still carried innocence. "Mommy," she whispered, "remember when I dreamed you were a superhero? Now I know why. You saved me. You saved all of us." Neriah's throat tightened as she hugged her tightly. "No, sweet girl. You saved me." Elira smiled softly. "Then we saved each other." That night, Neriah lay beside Kale, listening to his steady breathing. Gratitude swelled inside her. She had endured betrayal, humiliation, and loss, but she had emerged stronger, wiser, and softer all at once. She no longer woke burdened by the past. Instead, she woke thankful for Elira's laughter, for Kale's unwavering love, for Elora and Garen's selfless hearts. Lillia's studio stood tall, her name etched into the city's design legacy. Yet it was never about success or fame. For Neriah, it was about resilience, about proving to herself that survival could blossom into beauty. She no longer needed revenge. She had chosen something greater: courage, healing, and love. As dawn spilled light across Seattle's skyline, Neriah stood quietly at the window, Elira's small hand resting in hers. The horizon glowed with promise. She smiled gently, her heart at peace. She did not need the approval of those who abandoned her. She had found her true family, her true strength, and her true home. And that was more powerful than revenge could ever be.